If you are stuck at 10 to 50K a month as a coach or an agency, this is for you. Because I have been in the same situation. I couldn't get over 50K a month for 1.5 years straight for my e-commerce coaching business. But luckily I was able to fix all the problems I had and scale to 300K consistent every single month. And we're making anywhere between 150 to 200K in profit every month, and our ad spend to make the 300K is less than 15K a month. Now, it took way too long to get there, and I want to save years from your learning curve and break down for you exactly what I changed to actually get there. Because if we sum everything up, there's basically just 4 components which you have to nail until you get to 6 figures a month consistent. So let's break down the 4 pillars you need to have in place to make a shit ton of money with a service-based business. Number 1, obviously leads. Now, imagine you would have 10 times more leads than you currently have. Instantly, everything seems to fall into place. Everything all of a sudden works. All right, so leads are going to be the main part of everything. We're going to dive very, very deep into that. And I'm going to specifically show you my exact step-by-step method on how I at all times have around 3 full calendars. All right, so my appointment setters have 3 fully booked calendars every single day. And that's basically the only reason why I'm maintaining this high level. Number 2 is sales. Sales is very obvious. You need to be a really good closer or have a really good closer you employed. And I'm going to show you exactly how I got my closing rate to over 85%. And also taught the same exact thing to the closer who's basically closing the clients at this point for me. And basically now everything runs automatically. And also how he maintained the same exact closing rate as me. The next part is going to be hiring. You just need to understand how to actually hire people. And at this point, I have over 17 people working for me currently. So I definitely have fired a bunch, had a bunch of good experiences, bad experiences, and I'm going to share all the learnings with you which I had overall. And the last part is how do I actually maintain happy clients? Because of the YouTube channel of the coaching business, we're actually posting a case study every single week with happy clients. All right. And we've also been selling 18 to 30K programs left and right, which obviously is only possible as an upsell if people are actually happy. So first of all, let me start with this. You're focusing on the wrong things. The reason why you're stuck at the level you are is that you're focusing on things which feel very productive, but are super unproductive. You play around with your website, you're perfecting your video course, you chat a bunch with your clients, you try to do some cold calling here and there, so some cold DMs there, some new creative tests and stuff like that. But overall, in a lot of the cases, you actually are focusing on things which are not money-making activities, all right? So the main point of all of this is going to be streamlining you to things which are specifically there to only make you money, nothing else. And basically, if we're being honest, it's just 2 things. Number 1, lead generation. Number 2, sales, all right? That's the main 2 things which you need to understand to get a bunch of new clients. And then you basically have to work on the fulfillment and getting happy clients as well. So the last thing I want to say before we actually get into the specifics on how you can actually scale your business is this. You might feel super cool because you're making your 10K profit a month, which you can actually take out net. But in reality, I know you're kind of broke. Just keep in mind, just because all of your friends make less money than you, it doesn't mean that you're actually rich. It just means that you make more money than other broke people. But in reality, if you are not running a business which makes you 6 figures profit a month, trust me here, you cannot have this huge inflated ego where you feel like you're the best sales guy, you're the best businessman ever. You need to listen to other people, and that's what this presentation is for. All right, very first of all, let's talk about the skill number 1. Sales. And by the way, we're going to put a bunch of timestamps on so you can skip to the things which are the most important for you. First of all, the sales process starts much earlier than you think. You probably think sales is maybe your appointment setter calling and then you being on the sales call or just the sales call itself. In reality, there's a bunch of other factors which play a huge role into this. All right. If you have super hot leads which just want to buy, you can sit there and kind of suck at sales, basically tell them, yeah, you just present them the offer, they buy. If you basically run a pizza shop and there's a hungry customer which wants a pizza right now, it doesn't matter how good you are at sales, it doesn't matter how expensive your price is, it even doesn't matter how your pizza tastes. The only thing that matters is that you have a location which is set up somewhere where you have a bunch of hungry customers. And that will already make your life so much easier. So if you start out by generating leads, which are super qualified and also already know that you are an expert, it's going to be easy. All right. I have achieved this easy mode through my YouTube channel and stuff like that. But trust me, in the beginning, it was not easy mode at all. We were cold DMing people on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere. People had no clue who I am, and my closing rates were still above 80%. So let me break down what the main things are when you're doing sales calls. Number one, qualifying. All right, I cannot emphasize this enough. Qualifying your customers is by far the most important thing. You might think that you should take every sales call because what can you lose, right? What can you lose? The worst case, he's not gonna buy, you lost an hour, who cares? That's not how it works. You lost a shit ton of money by letting him through and talking to you because you're gonna be in this downward spiral. I'm sure you had this experience where you had like 4 or 5 guys who didn't buy, and the next one also didn't buy, but he was qualified. And why did he not buy? Because you were not expecting the next client to buy. You didn't get into the sales call with the objective to actually close no matter what, because you have so many bad people which actually are not able to buy. You can do your best, an unqualified person still cannot buy. You're gonna develop this wrong mindset, which is just gonna fuck everything up. All right, so qualifying is key. You cannot let people talk to you who are broke or who cannot make decisions by themselves. So if you have a person who has a partner and he's talking to you by yourself, don't do the call. That's it. If somebody tells you in the end, it sounds amazing, let me just talk to my partner, I'm gonna get back to you tomorrow and we're gonna start then. You lost. You're not gonna get that person back because you only convinced one partner. You have no idea how the relationship in between them is. Maybe the other guy is the true decision maker in their relationship and you're fucked. Also, the other guy doesn't know what you're selling. The client is basically gonna have to explain the other person how everything works with you. There's gonna be 100,000 misunderstandings. He's not gonna be able to handle the objections of the second guy. He's not gonna be able to answer the questions of the second guy. So it's all a mess, all right? Only talk to people who are number one qualified and number two qualified to make a decision. If you have a kid who's less than 18 years old, you need a parent. If you're talking to a housewife which has a shared bank account with her husband and the husband makes all the money, you need to have the husband in the call. You cannot just have her in the call because she wants to start her side business. Same thing goes for a bunch of husbands. If you have a guy who's married to a woman and you tell them right away, I need a decision in the end, and he tells you, yeah, I'm gonna give you a decision, I'm gonna then check in with my wife, and then I'm gonna get started. That means he cannot give you a decision yet, all right? Get the wife in the call, done. Number two is momentum. And there's short-term and long-term momentum overall. This is going to be a huge part of your closing rate, all right? There's the momentum of you just having regular sales calls. Every day you have a few sales calls, that's it. Obviously, this ties down back to leads, and I remember in moments where I didn't have any leads, I got worse at sales because I didn't get my reps in. I was not having sales calls every single day, and if I have 2 sales calls a week, I'm going to be significantly worse than if I have like 2 sales calls a day. And even 2 sales calls a day is low, but you get the point. So this is what's called long-term momentum. You build confidence in yourself that you can close people over a long enough time period. But also there's short-term momentum. If today we had 4 people who didn't close or who were such a pain in the ass or whatever, the 5th person is going to be much more difficult to close. So you need to have momentum on your side and get into every single sales calls fresh, motivated. All right, you cannot have sales calls which drain you of energy. If you're doing sales calls and you're really good at them and you have good qualified people, you will get hyped throughout the sales calls. The first sales call is going to be worse than the last sales call. You're just going to feel yourself, which is going to result in you crushing everybody in the sales calls. Number 3 is the sales script and the structure. You obviously heard it, you need a script, it's obvious, but let's get into how specifically that actually needs to be structured. Basically, there are a couple of stages in a sales call. The first stage is just qualifying the person again. Even though there was a setting call by somebody else on your team who qualified that person, you need to qualify him again by all means. You need to ask him questions. You need to make him feel like he actually deserved talking to you because he is such a good fit. You need to ask him a bunch of very specific questions which will get him to talk good about you and also which will get him to talk good about himself and basically qualifying himself to you. So there are 2 types of qualifying questions. For example, you can ask somebody, hey, why did you specifically reach out to me and not to somebody else? That question leads you to compliment me. All right. So you already established something where you have the fundamental of why you're here and he has to compliment you. Then you ask him about all of his problems. So What's the main reason why you weren't able to lose weight? What's the main reason why you weren't able to scale your business? What's the main reason why you didn't do this or that? Basically get him to talk about his problems very, very specifically. All right, so you need to understand what the actual objectives were so you can restructure your entire sales script around those points, because you're gonna have so many more objections if you don't find out the real objection already. Asking all these questions, you're gonna find out objections which you can handle before they even are raised. And if you handle objections before they're raised, you get an easy close in the end. How we do it inside of our program is just that we outline you all the questions you need to ask. Then we're gonna write the script with you together, role play with you, and make sure that you actually have the sales process down, do objection handling and all of those things, but we're gonna get into that later. So you ask the questions, and you also, again, in the beginning, made sure that he is the decision maker. You ask him, can you give me a clear decision in the end of the call? A clear yes or a clear no? And you make sure that they actually can, all right? You qualify them on the money. How much money are you actually able to invest into the business? How much time are you able to invest into the business? You make sure that he is a good fit, and only then you will proceed with the sales call. If something is off here, don't do it. Just stop the sales call, do follow-up instead, or do some other thing which is gonna make you more money than talking to an unqualified person, all right? Don't be afraid to just say, no, I don't think it's a good fit. Let's end it here. I wish you a great life. That's fine. So you qualified him. Then if he actually is a good fit, the next step is you talking about your story and making sure that he knows why you are qualified to explain him something, and basically why you are the authority and why you can tell him exactly what he's doing wrong and how you can help him. That's number one. Number two is you talk about the program itself and explain to him how your agency is structured, how your program is structured, and how everything is done. I've seen a bunch of people doing like screen shares and stuff like that. I personally don't like doing that, but it's personal preference. You can definitely do like a screen sharing presentation where you go through the steps of the program. It's very important to have a step-by-step system for your program, so it cannot just be random things. It has to be like a 5-step system to get to your first 10K. Roughly, you should have like 4 to 7 steps in the sales call to make sure that the person understands that there's like a roadmap and it's very easy to follow. Here again, make sure you understand what his problems are and take them away from him. Let's say you're selling a fitness program, you have a person who already was working with some fitness coach, but it didn't work out. And here you need to ask him, why didn't it work out? What went wrong? And he's, for example, going to tell you, I was just too lazy and I didn't apply the things he was telling me, and that's it. So now you have a very specific objection, which you're gonna have in the end. You're gonna have the objection of, all right, I tried it already, I'm this lazy fuck, and I'm basically not gonna be able to execute it anyways. Doesn't matter how good your system is. And then you understand that, you think about it, and you layer in something which handles that objection. Basically tell him, all right, look, we're gonna have accountability calls where I make sure that I am accountable for you getting the results. If I see you're not going to the gym, I'm gonna call you out straight away and I'm gonna tell you to get the fuck up and go to the gym, all right? If you say something along those lines, that's what's gonna get him hyped. That's his pain point. So this is gonna be super, super powerful. Next is tonality. It's huge, all right? If you know how to actually sound like an expert, people will think you are an expert. Tonality is huge, and you need to make sure that the whole thing sounds authentic. Some people are talking a little bit slower and more relaxed and lean back, and nothing is super hyped. Other people are like super on point and they're screaming in your face and they're like super excited and everything works out for them because you're so happy, but it doesn't really matter. There's no one good or one bad way. It's just more about what you are as a person. I don't want to force any style of sales onto you if it doesn't fit. So I am more of a laid back person, and in the sales calls, I'm not excited, I'm not hyped. I sound like I don't give a fuck. I sound like I don't care if you're gonna become a client, I don't need new clients, you need my help, you signed up to the call because you need my help, nothing else. If you wanna start, start, if you don't, don't. That's how I basically sound throughout my sales calls. But again, there's no right or wrong way, but this is a really good framework. Another really good framework could be also you being so excited about your product being so great that you cannot just help yourself but like scream it in their face and be like super hyped up. That's also totally fine, but it just needs to fit your narrative. Here I would highly recommend recording all of your sales calls and watching them back and making sure that you actually find holes and weaknesses in your tonality. For me personally, this YouTube thing was so helpful because I was watching my videos all the time. I was constantly rewatching my videos and trying to find holes in my tonality, in my body language. I was in the beginning doing weird things with my hands. It was feeling super stiff. My tone of voice was over the top or too quiet. It wasn't on point. So I needed to learn how to do all of this by just watching myself and finding specific problems and handling them. All right. So I would highly recommend doing the same for you. Watch every single sales call back and try to watch it back a couple of times. Number one, only listen to your tonality. Number two, only listen to your script. Number three, only listen to how you handle the objection. Number four is try to listen to the sales call again and assess the person's situation. And you need to be able to recall what his problems are, how much money he's making, how much time he has, how his life situation is, if he has something coming up. If let's say he's telling you he has some kind of vacation in 1 week and he's going to be away for 3 months and he's not going to be able to work on his business. Instantly, that's a red flag. Instantly, you need to think, done. I'm ending the sales call here. We're going to talk in 3 months. It doesn't make sense. He right now will not be able to sign up because he doesn't need me for the next 3 months. I'm going to waste his time. He's going to waste mine. It doesn't make sense. So something like this is probably 100% going to slip through the cracks while doing the sales call, but while reviewing it, you're going to be able to see those things much more clear. Number 5 is objection handling. Now, again, if you do every step until here right, you're going to have not many people who have objections. But obviously, you're still going to have some people who are having doubts, are not sure, and you will have to handle objections, okay? Main thing here, rule number 1 is we don't acknowledge bullshit. We don't care about anything else except for the real objection. If he tells you, I'm in, let me just think about it for one night and that's it. You can start talking your way around. Why do you have to think about it for a night? What's going to change till tomorrow? All of those things. In reality, there's something else going on. The main question you need to ask him is, what makes you unsure right now? And then he's gonna get deeper into what the actual problem is. It's never he needs to think about it. It's always he needs to think about it because he doesn't trust. He needs to think about it because he has to talk to somebody. He needs to think about it because he's not sure if he has enough time for it, or he's not sure if your method works, or he just doesn't trust you because you look like a sleazy salesman, or whatever it is. There's a specific reason. You need to find it out. Okay? So how you do it is, instead of engaging, you ask questions. Instead of trying to handle bullshit, you only handle things which are real. So before you try to explain yourself and talk about how amazing your program is, or if he says, yeah, it's too expensive, you start instantly, let's just do a payment plan. What about that? Or let me give you a discount or something like that. It's not his real objection. So just completely ignore bullshit, which he's going to throw your way. There's going to be just a bunch of smoke bombs, which is going to throw your way. Your job is not letting yourself get off the script. Your goal is finding out what the real objection is. That's it. Next, after you actually handle the objection, you must have some sort of commitment in the call. Signed contract could be one thing, which is very annoying and tedious, so I wouldn't recommend it. Another thing which I would definitely recommend is collecting the payment itself. So either some sort of deposit or the full payment. Okay? You must have a payment in the call. If you don't, you didn't close it. It doesn't count. You literally did not sign anybody yet because he just said yes. The moment where you can be sure that he's in is when you get the notification on your phone that money came into your bank account. It's very important to have a very smooth transition to the payment. So you don't start out with, all right, you're in, give me your credit card details, let's get started. That's not how you start. It needs to be baby steps. So how you generally should work around it is this. So the next thing you say is, are you fine with credit or debit card, or do you want to do PayPal? That's a sentence which puts him in a position where you talk about payments, not in a way where can you do the payment right now, but it's more of finding out logistically what's easier for you. Do you want to do credit card, PayPal, debit card, whatever you want. Okay? So you ask that question, he says, yeah, whatever, credit card is fine. Cool, let me send you the link. You can fill in all the payment information. Let me know when it's done so I can schedule you the onboarding itself. You basically just have a bunch of things around the payment, onboarding, scheduling the onboarding, asking about your name, your address and stuff like that. Just making it smooth is super important. And then the last part is after he actually did the payment, the sale is not over yet. The next 24 hours, if you fuck up, he's gonna want a refund. All right, the next 24 hours, it's still him not being 1000% sure. Most people are just going to go ahead with it. There's going to be a bunch of people though, which are going to be unsure if your process is not on point. So the next step, and this is huge, is inside of the sales call, you must schedule the onboarding call, which is going to be like a 30-minute call where somebody's going to walk him through the process of the program. And here it's important to have, again, that scripted out, have a very clear outline program. And the main thing is just clarity. You must make sure that your client knows what he's getting and also what his action steps are. He starts, and then if you don't tell him anything, he's lost. He has no clue how everything is working. You must lead. You must be the expert who leads him into doing step by step by step and basically getting the results. Okay? So just keep this in mind. All right. I hope the sales part was helpful. Let's now talk about hiring. Hiring is simply the thing which gets you to scale. All right? You can only do so much with your time. And if you find the right people, every single really good hire is literally going to make you around 50K a month. It's insane. What it does on top of that is that you're basically freeing up all of your time. This is the moment where you gain freedom. It's the very first time in business history where you start being able to go back a little bit, and then you can decide whether you want to push even more and scale, or chill a little bit, stay on a consistent level, and get other people to do the same exact work for you. And you basically just work a couple of hours per day maintaining everything, and finally chill. Now, I'm not telling you that chilling is the best way to go, and I'm definitely not doing it myself. However, it gives you the ability to, and in some cases, if you want to, you can just take a vacation, no problem. Last month, for example, I in total combined worked less than 20 hours, which is literally nothing. All right. But I'm going to get into exactly who I had to hire and how I did this. But by the way, also keep in mind, that was 1 month where I just wanted to do this and wanted to travel and chill a little bit and be more with family. But a normal month for me is not that. All right. I'm just saying that you're going to have the ability to chill, but you shouldn't always take that. So let's start with this. What roles do you generally need as an agency or a coaching business? The first person you hire is an appointment setter. All right, it's not the person who closes, and I know a lot of people in the US market are doing this completely wrong, and they basically instantly try to sell you on call one. You should never do that. You should always have an appointment setter who sets the calls for you, and in that call with you, you close. All right, the appointment setter should not have so much responsibility where they just send like a link and get them to buy it. It's just awful because the appointment setters are not there to be those super highly qualified experts in closing or something like that. They're just the people who make sure that you get qualified people who you talk to, all right? So this appointment setter, the only thing which matters for him is having exact clarity over the situation of the potential client. So they need to understand exactly how much money they have in the bank account, how much is coming in monthly, how many hours per day they can invest into the business, if they're a good fit in a niche, if they have time right now, or they have some kind of vacation coming up, if they even know who you are, and if they never watched any content of yours, you should rather schedule the call a bit later and make sure that they do watch content of you before they have the sales call and stuff like that, okay? So they handle all of that, then they set the appointment for you, and they make sure that he arrives to your appointment. So if he doesn't show up, they call you. You never call them ever, because if you start calling and getting them into the call, you are number one, wasting time, and number two, everything is the frame is already gone. You're not this expert. Imagine you have a call with Grant Cardone and you don't show up, and he directly calls you to make sure that you went on the right link to get to the Zoom call, and then something goes wrong and your internet connection breaks up, and there's just some bullshit. Grant Cardone instantly loses all of his status and everything is fucked. Right? So what happens to increase your frame even more? Another person does that for you, and you're the guy who doesn't handle any bullshit. He's just there after everything is ready. Technical things are set up. The person is in your call. Everything is perfect. He has sent out all the emails with the links and stuff like that. He just handles everything. That's an appointment setter, crucial role, the very first person you need to hire. Nothing is more important than him. Number two, and this really depends on what business model you have, how you generate leads. We're going to get into the lead generation part, but either it's going to be a person who's going to help you with manual lead generation. So for example, if you're doing cold DMs all day or cold calls or stuff like that, they can take it over and they basically do that for you. So that's it's just going to be a huge relief after you don't have to do that anymore, and they just generate the money for you. If you don't do any manual outreach, the best thing you can hire is fulfillment support. So a separate person who makes sure that your clients are happy. How do you find that person? And this one is very easy. Just get a client which already had success with you to become a coach. By far, the best thing which I ever did in my whole life. I've hired my top clients, which I have vetted for month and month and month. I made sure that they are on point. I saw how they're working. I saw how they're treating their business, and I just knew they're also going to treat mine the same. So again, as an example, if you have a fitness coaching, just get one of the guys who got super big with you together to help the other guys. First thing it does, it boosts your credibility. You have a person who you taught and he's the coach. This first of all means that your system works. Second thing it means is person who you taught knows exactly how you teach. And you can be sure and you can have the peace of mind that they're going to answer the questions like you would answer them because he has learned from you and not from anybody else. It's a big mistake to hire some other fitness coach guy who's going to coach for you if you didn't go through the process of coaching him, because now he has a different system. Maybe it's even better or worse, doesn't matter, but it's going to conflict with how you teach. Okay, so this is crucial. Hire somebody who you worked with and you made sure that he's actually legit. Now, I did the same exact thing with ecom. Over 50% of the people who work for me were previous clients of mine, and those were super happy with my program. And I just said, hey, do you want to start working with me as well and make other people happy? And they said yes. So this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It's insane how it boosts the happiness of your clients, and it's just also insane how much time it saves you. Next, an assistant. So you need a person who's going to do everything for you. For example, they're going to make sure that your YouTube schedule is on point, or they're going to book a flight for you, or check your post, or get something from the post office, or clean your car, or generally do things for you which are going to make your life easier. This is one of those hires which is probably the most important for your mental sanity. This also is something which is going to make sure that your to-do lists are structured well and your time is not wasted. Because there's a very important system which you need to have in place to make sure you keep track of all of your to-dos and all of the to-dos of your workers. All right, so let me quickly show you how to actually manage all of this. All right, if you have a couple of people working for you, you must retain the overview and make sure that you know exactly what you need to do and what they need to do. So how do you do this? Very first of all, you obviously need to work with to-do lists. We're usually using Trello, and that's super simple. I'll give you an overview of general tasks. And then this is crucial, you're gonna have one list for every single employee you have. For example, you have your assistant's to-do list as well, okay? So how does all of this start? Every single task, it doesn't matter if it's yours or somebody else's, if you have it in your head, you write it in here, all right? So task 1, if you then decide to outsource it, still right now your task, you now push it over to your assistant, and only now it became your assistant's task. This is so important because you're going to have all of your employees here and you're going to assign the tasks for them, and they will put their own tasks also in there which they assign for them. And every single time you tell somebody to do something, it's not going to work out because they're going to forget, you're going to forget, it's not going to be good. You need to have that overview over the tasks of your assistant, and then you can check in. You will go to your to-do list anyways, and you're going to check in. All right, task 1 should have been done by your assistant already. Is it done? No or yes? And if it is, then you basically have your second tab here, which is going to be assistant done. And if she is done, she's going to push it here. Or if you see that it's not done yet and it's been already a week, then something is wrong and you need to remind her. Okay? This is something which is just going to structure everything so much better. The coolest thing about all of this is you can actually put deadlines onto this where you get a notification if they didn't do it after 3 days, which is just so helpful. So who's next? The next thing is you need an editor. You need a person who's actually trained. He's a professional at YouTube editing or video editing, or generally editing your creatives and all of your videos. I don't care what anybody says. Video content is the main lead generation for like 90% of the people. All right. Even if you do cold calls and then call them, you still will have to link some sort of video to them, which looks really professional. And then them actually buying from you, the chances go up like crazy. All right. So video content is going to be key for everything, and you must have a good editor. When we hired ours, and you can clearly see the editing is on point all the time with our videos, we made so much more money because the videos just started to blow up. And a really good example for this is on the main channel. If I go there real quick, you're gonna see that I have posted 2 Andrew Tate videos, all right? One was really good with shit editing. It had 14,000 views. Then I had another Andrew Tate video, which was posted. The video itself was not much better, but it got 850,000 views. And obviously, as you can imagine, This means a shit ton of money. And an effect like this can just happen from high production. Now, obviously your content is going to matter the most, but again, it's just so much nicer to watch, including ads. If you're running some Facebook ads or something like that, if you're like really on point professional editing, people just take you more serious because they think you are somebody now, because everything looks super fancy. Next is going to be some sort of tech guy, basically a person who's going to make sure that everything is on point, everything is working, some IT person who just is doing all the technical things for you. And I understand that technical stuff can fuck a lot of things up. There's so many to-dos which you just postpone because you don't know exactly technically how to set it up. Having one freelancer which you can always get back to and have a project done for you is just so crucial. So this probably shouldn't be a person who's doing it full time for you, but it's definitely somebody who's a must-have contact as a freelancer. Okay? And here overall, generally, you must make this decision whether you want to have an office or you want to do everything completely online. There's no right and wrong. We have chosen to have like a nice office here in Frankfurt, have a big part of the team inside of the office, and still we have a bunch of people outside. But it was very, very helpful to organize everything and make sure that we're all on point and on track to being as productive as we can. All right, the next hire is a closer. And honestly, I would say that one person by himself can manage to close anywhere between 50 and 100 people a month. It doesn't matter how expensive you're selling. What I'm saying is the capacity of how many people he can sign is around 50 to 100 a month. Now, obviously, you can calculate if your average lifetime value is, let's say, 5K, he's gonna make you $500,000 a month. All right, that's something which is doable. This is like the max what a one closer can do. I'm sure if he's like an animal and he's crushing everybody, he can do even more, but I'm just saying what the average is. I, by myself, while doing YouTube videos, handling customers and doing all of those things, I was by myself without any closer, was closing on 250K a month. All right, this was without a closer, and we switched that, and now we have a closer, and he basically took over all the sales calls, and nothing has changed. So I freed up an insane amount of my time. It's a really good commission-based salary, which is 5 figures a month, and it's extremely profitable. The process of building him into this closing machine was, first of all, he was an appointment setter for over half a year, all right? So he was already getting used to talking to clients. He understood the whole process. He understood everything. And then I was sitting with him for like, I think 2 months in a row and was constantly drilling all the objection handling, the tonality stuff, and basically how he handles all the sales calls, all right? It was a 2-month process. And when he started, instantly, his closing rate was like over 60%. And now at this point, he's getting a closing rate of over 80%, which is just amazing. And basically comes very, very close to mine, which is great, because this hire is just going to free up so much of your time. You cannot imagine how happy I was when I started seeing sales coming in while I was in Spain with my girlfriend and just chilling. I was sitting there in a hot tub with my phone in my hand, and I see a new notification every hour how like thousands of dollars are coming in and a bunch of people are buying right now. It was such a relief, because until that point, my day was full. It was not passive at all. The only thing I was doing all day, like 5 to 8 hours a day, was closing people. And it's super fun at first, but it gets very, very tedious after like years of doing it, and it just gets too much. So for me personally, finding a closer who's gonna do it for you is just life-changing. All right, so now let's get into the juiciest of all topics. How do you actually generate leads? I have been trying every lead generation method for years. I came to the conclusion which one is the best. I'm going to walk you through that, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to implement my system step by step here. So, to make your life easier, as a general concept, you have to have warm leads. Cold calls, cold DMs, and cold ads are not going to get you to a couple 100K a month. It's just not going to happen. Or if it happens, you're just a sales god where you have to be the perfect sales guy ever and have so many upsells to get there. Cold leads are extremely difficult. The amount of people who actually reach your sales call is going to be significantly less than with hot leads, because obviously if they like you, if they want to buy from you, everything becomes much simpler. So this entire ad cycle of getting discovery ads done and retargeting and the case studies and all of those things, we're going to do that for you. All right, inside of our program, we basically run every single ad for you. We tell you exactly how to make the videos perfect, which creatives to use, how to write the scripts for the call to action videos and stuff like that. We're going to do everything for you. The technical setup is going to be on us, and we're also going to guide you through how to make perfect videos. But let's get into that later. So how do you actually get there? It's basically having steps in between. You should never, ever, ever, ever Have a person in your sales call who saw one thing of you, one DM exchange, one call, or one website, or one funnel with a cold ad which linked to one video, and that's it. That should never be the case, all right? They should already know you and like you. So the best way to do this by far is YouTube. And I've basically successfully managed to do this strategy where I'm spending less than 15K a month and I'm making well over 250K a month. So the ROAS which I'm having is over 20. All right, so let's jump into the screen and I'm gonna show you step by step how I'm running this entire thing. So very first of all, it might sound super difficult to build a YouTube channel. However, there is a pay to win strategy where you literally spend money on ads and get subscribers who then buy. The overview of the strategy is this. You start making good videos, you run ads onto your videos, and then you basically get people on your channel, retarget those with call to action ads, and then get them to buy. So as you can see, I've typed in some dropshipping thing and basically clicked on the very first video, which I saw. And the first thing which gets recommended here is my video, which was one of my top performing ads. I'm going to show you that in a second, but it's basically this video. And here this little tiny banner says ad, all right? It looks almost the same as every other video and it looks like it's not an ad at all. This tiny thing is the only thing which indicates that it actually is an ad. Everything else looks like it just gets you recommended. And you basically pay to get recommended on the very top. Get onto the video, and this is an example of a really good ad. I filmed it well over a year ago, but basically it's a full breakdown similar to this one, just for dropshippers. All right, it's like a 30-minute video where I'm basically talking about very specific people. Let me just show you the hook so you get the point.
This video is for everybody who is testing products consistently, but cannot seem to find a winning product. All right, so either you tested a couple of products already, or you actually tested a lot of products in terms of like 10, 20 products, but nothing works. Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about three things. Number one.
So very first of all, let's start with this. You can clearly tell how much better the video's gotten to right now versus this. However, this is still one of my top converting ads, which shows that your videos don't have to be crazy good. You don't have to be super well versed in front of the camera, and this makes the cut. And basically what I did here is I targeted a very specific audience of dropshippers who already tested a bunch of products but didn't make it work. This is a very good niche in the dropshipping field because I basically see that as a perfect client, which already takes a bunch of actions and they just didn't make it work, and that there's going to be like a couple quick fixes which we're going to implement and then make it work instantly. And then we have like a super nice case study where it didn't work for a long time and then we made it work. We helped them and then we made it work instantly. So a video like this is going to be run as a discovery ad. People will watch this video and then go to your YouTube channel and subscribe or watch other videos. All right. Doesn't matter what they do. After watching this video, you already have them in your retargeting audience. So after they watch, you're going to show them a bunch of other things. So one really good other video, which we're using as a retargeting video for people who watched it, subscribed or didn't subscribe, doesn't matter. The next one is there to convert. All right. It's not yet a call to action video, but it's testimony to me being an expert. And it's basically a case study. All right, so this was a live case study with one of my students who basically made over $1 million in dropshipping. And I have a bunch of other case studies with other people on Zoom, but this specifically was really good because we basically met up in Amsterdam. This is something which you need to shove it into your audience's face. You are the shit. You know exactly what you're talking about now, and they start actually believing everything you say. This is gonna make everything so much easier because, as I said, happy clients are gonna get you so many more leads. If you actually know what you're doing, have a bunch of testimonials and case studies and stuff like that, it's so simple to get clients. So this is one example of a retargeting ad. Then they watch this, they either instantly convert or they now are convinced and basically subscribe. And then I basically bombard them with, again, testimonials. So basically compilations of results, or I try to talk to segments in my audience and basically call them out directly. So for example, what I could say as a hook for an ad would be, if you are starting out with your coaching business, but you have no clue who to target, this is for you. This will target super beginners who never made money yet. This would be one way of attracting those kind of people. Another way would be, if you are making 10K a month, but you cannot scale to 100K a month, this is for you. Instantly, you're talking to another audience. If you, for example, say, if you are running a 6-figure a month business, but you cannot find a perfect assistant for you who's gonna constantly help you out with everything you do and save hours and hours of your day, I'm gonna show you the step-by-step method of how to find an assistant who you can actually trust 100%. A hook like that is gonna talk to super advanced people who are already making a bunch of money. And here what you should do is you basically should find pocket segments of your audience and think who's the best, and then have separate ads for each individual one. So those are the ads which are typically working the best. Now we have to keep in mind, to make all of this work, you have to have banger videos, all right? What I just showed you is not enough. You actually need to learn the skill of being good in front of the camera, talk like a regular human being who sounds like he knows what he's talking about. The content of what you say needs to be really, really value-packed, which basically shows people that you know your shit. So the question is, how do you actually become good at filming videos? Number one is practice. And it's pretty obvious, but you need to make sure that you're filming every single day. And you're not going to become good in the first week, maybe not even in the first month, but after a few months, you're going to have it down and actually know how to make really good videos. But you actually will be shocked on how fast your videos are good enough to get you leads, all right? They don't have to be perfect yet. If you get them to be perfect, your ROAS is gonna skyrocket like mine did and basically become like over 20x. But if you're doing a decent job with your videos, your ROAS is still gonna be over 5. And here the key is the same thing as I said for sales. You must review your footage. You must get better every single video. You watch your video back and you think, what did I do wrong? You ask your friends, what was bad about this video? I don't need any sugarcoating. Don't give me any compliment. I just need to hear what I did wrong. Listen to my tonality, then listen to what I'm saying, then watch me, my body language. Do I move weird? Do my arms look weird? Like how does the background look? Tell me about everything. Go through everything step by step by step, and you try to become better with every single video. Now I'm gonna give you a couple of concepts which you need to keep in mind while filming. Number one is what you're saying should not be what the mainstream belief is. That's very, very, very important. I can use one example again from this e-commerce dropshipping context. My whole shtick in the beginning to get big on YouTube was to say that branding doesn't matter. Everybody in the entire dropshipping industry says that the main thing to have a profitable store is to have it branded. And then I come along and basically tell them, branding isn't shit. You don't need to brand your store. You don't need that. It's irrelevant. And everybody instantly is like, what the fuck is going on here? I thought branding is the main thing. And then I logically back that up with real arguments, which actually I believe in. Basically what happens is you convince them of your thing being better than the mainstream belief, and all of a sudden, every single failure they ever had, they're gonna blame on the other guys. They're gonna think, it didn't work out because I branded. I tested 25 products and they didn't work because I branded. I lost 2K because I branded. I lost this, and basically they put all the negative things on branding. You just need to give them some sort of excuse on why things didn't work out, and then you give them a better solution. And here the most important thing is you need to actually believe in it. It needs to be real, and you need to make sure that you write down a big list of myths in your niche and crush them. So if you understand what your target audience thinks, and then basically say the exact opposite, everyone is gonna be hooked, all right? You must do that. And this is, by the way, what I call the parasite strategy. Next, scripting your videos. You must script your videos properly, and half of the filming is done in the scripting. You need to make sure that your bullet points are on point, you have a clear storyline, you have a clear structure for your video, and you cannot just wing it. That's not how you should be doing it. You definitely need to script properly and just do it in bullet points. And then for the hook, so for the first like 10 seconds, they should be written out word by word, and you just literally memorize that and say it in the camera. That's generally how you should structure it. The next thing is going to be thumbnails and titles. It obviously matters a lot, especially in this ad context where people need to click on your video just to watch it. And you need to make sure that your title and thumbnail is very, very captivating. And if we go through my channel here, for example, and sort by most popular, you can clearly tell what works and what doesn't. For example, I found a video format which worked really well for me, which is basically doing breakdown videos on other super famous people and getting this dropshipping context in there. So for example, I did the same thing for Andrew Tate, for Aiden Ross, for Hermosi, for Iman Geji, and a couple more people. What you can clearly see is I found one really good title, which is X Person Advice on Dropshipping, Andrew Tate's Advice on Dropshipping, Alex Hermosi's Advice on Dropshipping, Iman Geji's Advice on Dropshipping. All of these videos did super, super well. Basically what I did was this thumbnail idea where I say dropship now. And basically it puts the words into the person's mouth. So now all the viewers think that Andrew Tate just said that everybody should dropship. Now everybody thinks that Alex Hormozi said that dropshipping is the shit. And this is something which is super powerful. So you actually need to be captivating the interest of people. Same thing goes for this top performing ad, which I had here, how to find winning products, advanced dropshipping strategies. And then I said 3 winners in a row. Having 3 winners in a row is like a super crazy thing in the dropshipping industry. And if you are into it, it's like mind blowing to have 3 winners in a row, which made this entire thing super interesting. And that's why people click. Titles and thumbnails are crucial. And I would honestly say like 40 to 50% of the entire video is your thumbnail and title, because if people don't click, they're not going to watch. So I would highly recommend getting a thumbnail maker who's more professional, and you can definitely get thumbnails done from them, and it's just going to be better than whatever you're doing. In our program, we actually will recommend specific thumbnail makers who are doing all the thumbnails for us. Same thing with editors, etc. So the main thing to keep in mind while starting with YouTube is you just need to start. Just film videos day after day after day, and at some point you're going to be good. All right. I would recommend posting anywhere between 2 or 3 times a week. It's up to you how much you can do, but I would definitely recommend that. And I don't really see anything more important than that, because that should be the priority. If your appointment setter doesn't have fully booked calendars, this is the priority. You should have time for this, because nothing else is more important than getting there. All right, so if you watched till now, I assume you actually genuinely enjoyed this video. So what you should definitely do is subscribe to this channel. And by the way, what I'm doing right now is the exact same cycle which I just explained. We're gonna run this video as a discovery ad. People are gonna enjoy it and subscribe to the channel, because I did the call to action right now. And then they're gonna watch a bunch of other videos and understand that we know what we're talking about, and then you're gonna buy. And then we basically warm you up with that, and you're gonna get started with our program. And the offer of the program is a couple of things. The very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the offer you have, look at the pricing, and make sure that everything is on point there. Then we're gonna look at your sales process. So we're gonna look over every script you have, and if you don't have any, we're gonna make sure that we write one together. After that, we're gonna have a bunch of calls where we basically role play, so we make sure that you actually are on point with the sales. So we're basically gonna teach you everything step by step, everything I know. And while doing all of this, we're gonna help you with filming your first YouTube video. We're gonna give you the ideas, we're gonna review your videos, and we're gonna tell you what sucks about them. So how your tonality is, how your background looks, how your setup looks, what you're saying needs to be improved, and all of those little things. And basically make sure that your videos are actual bangers, all right? This took me years to develop. I've literally started this YouTube channel like 2 years ago or so, and it was not an easy ride at all to get to where I'm at now. But the best thing about it is it's very replicatable. And that's what I'm saying. If I would start this entire process again right now with an e-commerce coaching business, I would be at 100K a month within like 3 months. Easy, no problem at all, because I just know exactly what to do, and I'm gonna show you what to do as well and how to get there. We're gonna review your videos, your ads, and also your scripts, so you basically don't waste time with filming bullshit. Then when you actually filmed a couple of good videos, we're gonna move on to the next step, which is gonna be us running ads for you, all right? We're gonna handle everything, the entire technical setup, how to run Google Ads. And again, here we've done countless mistakes to get to where we're at right now. And we basically make sure that this entire cycle is perfect, all right? We're gonna run the discovery ads, we're gonna script the retargeting ads with you together and run them as well, and just make sure that everything is on point. And the other things which we can do for you is basically thumbnails, the titles, the editing, and also your website, your funnel. With all of those things, you're gonna have 2 options. Either we're gonna guide you through exactly how to make a perfect title, how to make a perfect thumbnail, how to make the perfect website, or we're gonna connect you to a person who can do it for you, or it's gonna be basically us who do it for you, and you choose one of those 3 options. So if you are interested in starting to work with me personally, you can click the link below and sign up for a call with me, and we're gonna find out if everything is a good fit. Because our offer is a done-for-you one, we are very selective with our applicants, so make sure to actually fill out this application properly. And here, it's not gonna be about only you having money, it's about a bunch of other things which are super crucial, which are gonna be the deciding factor if we actually start working with it. So again, you can click the link below right now and sign up for a call, and we're gonna find out if everything is a good fit.